Well, hello everyone. Welcome to the weekly team call. We've got a bit of a different one this morning, bit of a special one. Got some special guests. I really haven't got anything formally planned, but I do want to unpack a little bit about the weekend that's just been in Dallas. And I wasn't there. I couldn't get to that one. I don't miss too many events, but I wasn't there. But we do have some fantastic guests on this evening that were there. We've got Mr. Chris Atkinson, we've got Mr. Ron Williams, we've got Carmen there, and I'm really keen to unpack, from what I saw, and I tried to get in on the live feed as much as humanly possible. Just let me know in the chat if you jumped in on the live feed at all and how much of that live feed you actually watched because if you're down under it was early mornings, sometimes the middle of the night, so you might have caught some of it, half of it, all of it. Let me know in the chat and let me know what you got out of the live feed, what you got out of that. But most importantly, I want to hear from the people that were there, and one of the most important things that they'll probably tell you is you have to attend live events, and they'll tell you why, because it's hard to come back and put into words in person, really expressing, hey, this is where we're going. I'm so excited. You'll never see someone that wasn't at the event more excited than someone that was. And so just going to those things is super critical in this industry in particular. And so, yeah, I think Carmen is halfway between flights back home, but she's at the airport. But I'd love to have a chat with Carmen. Um, and talk a little bit about what she got out of the weekend. So, Shopley is, what are we, 90 days old, basically. I mean, I think I kicked off end of August. And so completely new concept, something completely different, refreshing. And that's why I'm here at Shopley, because I don't want to do the same old, same old. I don't want to be looking for a new company again in 12 months' time. And so we go through the forest with the machete, don't we, as pioneers? And some things have been fantastic and some things haven't. The vendor process has been up and down, and we kicked off, and here we are. What I was really excited to see on the live stream was I guess, the formula going forward, setting expectations on an international basis, and talking about, okay, you're in the Philippines, so you're going to be at phase 0 or phase 1. You're in Australia, you're at phase 2. You're in US, you're at phase 4. Okay, what is phase 3? Okay, let me have a look on the formula here. Phase 3 is this, this, and this. And so what it does, it really sets a pathway, a vision, a formula moving forward for everyone to build internationally. It sets expectations, and people can get out there and go build this worldwide. So the story and the way you sort of pitch it changes a little bit, especially with international markets, but it sets up people's expectations. I think it gets them more excited. And so, Carmen, are you there? Are you unmuted? Are you able to speak? I think she's at the airport, so we'll see how we go. I can see her there.
Oh, I am good. Okay.
So,
I don't
Carmen,
know
let
how
me
to.
ask you. Let me ask you. You've done some networking before, correct?
Yes.
And you've had some success before, right?
Yes.
So you're not a newbie, you're not a first timer, you understand the industry, and you've done really well with Shopley from the launch perspective. So, you really kicked it off, hit a good rank. And I could tell we speak quite a bit. I could see belief go up and down and up and down. And you can tell people's belief in a startup because it's how many questions they're asking, it's how many enrollments they're doing. So tell me, coming out of this event in Dallas, Carmen, how's your belief levels at the moment?
Well, at the moment, my heart's beating so fast I can't control it because I'm so excited. I have had lots of success in this industry. I've had failures, but one of the biggest things for me is like learning a whole new business model. This is just so special and so unique. And Um, I think the biggest thing, right, is doing that. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result, like you were saying. And I think that's exactly my takeaway from this event. Mostly is that this industry needed something. It needed a whole makeover. It needed a facelift, right? And so that's what we have with Shockley. And my belief level, the integrity, the leadership, the whole company, the community, like it is. I have been a part of a few companies, you bet, and it just seeps integrity all around. And I needed to see that because of the failures I've been through. we always have these little inside voices kind of poking at us. And if something doesn't completely go right, we're like, oh, here we go again, that thing. So, one thing I can tell you about being in that event, attending that event, and just meeting the people, meeting the leadership, and going to Terry LaCour's home and seeing his heart and his passion. I mean, it's just I just am so absolutely grateful, so honored to be in this situation, in this position that I'm in. This company is gonna rock our world. Like, it just is. Like, it's got everything we need and then some. The training, the leadership, the integrity, it's just everything. We have everything we need. So I don't know what else to tell you. I'm kind of like, my brain's so full. I was trying to figure out what would I want to share with you guys the most, but it is my belief. Like, I have zero doubt. I'm 100 million% all in, and I am going to the top of this company. Like, there's no doubt, and I want to take everybody with me that wants to go.
I love it. I love it. And you don't really see too many people, not too many people that don't go to those events say those types of words. People come out of those events and it just spills out. It's just organic. It's just natural. And people that haven't been to the event, that perhaps had a rough start, they're kind of like, oh, that sounds good. I'll see how it goes. So what are you going to do when you get back to Canada, Carmen? What are your action steps, and why are you so confident that it's going to work and work so well?
I am confident in the people. I mean, we have a technology platform that's never been done before. I mean, we have the best of the best around the globe. What I'm going to do, I guess what I'm going to do is get on the phone and make sure I share this with as many people that I love and know, and carry on. I'm just going to go with it, because I wouldn't want to leave anybody with not knowing this information, because this is going to change lives financially for generations to come. Like, there's not a doubt in my mind about that. Like, we've heard this before, but we see the shift in the industry. It's not happening out there. There's so much disruption. Well, we are going to disrupt this industry in a very positive way with this company and with this platform. So I think the other thing too is accountability and mentorship. Like, we've got great leadership, and I think the biggest thing for me is I've not really had accountability. I kind of do what I want whenever I want. So I think moving forward for me is I'm gonna, really kind of set some serious goals and make a point of reaching them.
And what would your advice be to people building internationally? So we have vendors, we have lots of products, but majority are in the US. And so what would you say to someone in Australia, in the Philippines, in Finland? What would you say to people that are, they're entrepreneurs, they're go-getters, but they're international? What would be your advice to tell them to go out and build?
Well, I feel it's all about positioning right now, and I feel like it's game on in the US. So if you know anybody in the US, get them in the business, right? I mean, I feel that we are positioned. I mean, we couldn't be positioned any better right now. The vision of this company and where we're going with this is beyond anyone's. We can't even see it because it's never been done before. We look at Amazon. If we could get just a piece of that, where will we be, right? I mean, hello, like, who wouldn't want this? I mean, if you want to set your families free financially for us, for generations to come, this is it. Position yourselves, just get plugged in and learn. I mean, because sometimes I think people get a little overwhelmed, and it kind of stops them in their tracks, a little bit, because it's
Mm.
like they don't know what to grasp and what to hold on to and where to move from forward, because there's so many moving parts. But there is something here for everybody. And so, if you've got one leader or two leaders in a new country, connect with your upline, find some vendors, work with your upline to get those vendors in place and build. I
Mm.
just say, share the vision, share it. Like, if you don't, somebody else will. And that's what I do know.
Yeah, and the story of Shopley and the vision, that's the one story that people seem to grasp and has been really well received. And to me, it's exciting. Like, I would want to be the first in my country to be enrolled, get that position in the matrix, and then go and find the product that I'm super passionate about. Because to me, that's like starting up your own network marketing company without the millions of dollars needed to do it. Okay, I'm going to find the exact product that I want to build on. I'm going to be first, and you can own that country before anyone else even finds out that Shopperly exists. And, to me, that's not, you got two types of people. People are going to wait for a product to promote, and they might be good at that. But then you got the next level leader that goes and gets that product to promote, and they're going to set themselves up in an incredible position.
That's right. The girls that I was with down there, like, that's what we're doing on the way on yesterday, because we stayed an extra day just to kind of process everything we learned and kind of talk about things moving forward. And that was it. It was like, we're from Canada, so we're going to go get some vendors, and we're going to help, get Canada hopping just like the US is, for sure. And I think that's beautiful that we choose our vendors. Like, this is
Mm.
just, I mean, we choose our products. It's incredible. Like, it's never been done before. I can't stop saying that. People say, "What are you most excited about?" I'm like, "What's not to be excited about? This is absolutely huge.
Mm.
It's massive. It's bigger than anything I've seen before."
Can you tell Carmen's been to an event? So I love that.
Yeah.
And Carmen, last question for you. Why should people go to these events? I mean, whether they're local, international, and why should you grab as many of your team members as possible to go to these events? How do you think, do you think you could have watched this on a live Zoom and been the same? Like, why do people need to go to these events?
Aaron, it's interesting because I've been to many events, and we always know we need to be at the events. Yes. And even, I'll just be straight up, like, right the day before I left to go to Texas, a few things happened. I almost missed my flight, actually. And, and that's not anything unusual. But there was a little chatterbox in my head going, "Oh, you don't probably really need to go." But I went because I had people on my team going, for sure. I
Mm.
was like, well, I'm not gonna let them down. So the biggest thing is, I mean, I got I felt the uh the authenticity, like, of everybody, like,
Mm.
it's real. I could touch it, you know what I mean? We were there together, and not just the corporate leadership, like the leadership around the globe. Like, these people
Mm.
are here, they've been here before, these are big players in this industry, and they are coming back out of retirement to do this business, to help other people, to share this with other people, to change life. I mean, I think being at that event, you don't grasp that fully until you actually lock arms and touch and hug and smile and share in all of that excitement together. And it just makes it real. It just brings the truth. It's truth. It's real. It's tangible. We can sink our teeth into this. It's not going anywhere. We have everything we need right here. So I don't know. I wouldn't miss an event for nothing after this. I will be at every one. You can count on that. And I want to
Got it.
bring as many of my team with me as I can, so they can feel this feeling that I have.
Yeah, 100%, because
Yeah.
that's what makes the momentum kick off. Well, thanks for joining us, Carmen. It's just great to hear from someone at the event that, is not new to the industry, that, you're going to call BS if you see it. And if you come back and go, "You know what, that was the worst event of my life," you're going to say it how it is. But I can tell you're pumped. I can tell you're excited. Look forward to working with you ongoing.
I'm excited. Thank you, Aaron. Thanks for having
Awesome.
me on here. I'm not sure if I know how to mute myself, so maybe, oh no, I think I got it. Okay.
Okay, no problems. And our next guest, I want to start to talk with. We want to leave the best till last, Chris. We're going to talk to our Chief Visionary Officer, Mr. Ron Williams, and we're going to ask a few more of the technical type questions with Ron. But Ron, you're on corporate. You've been a networker. You've just come out of the event. You're on stage. From a corporate point of view, for someone that's been around the industry for so many decades, how do you feel the event went in Dallas this weekend?
Well, I echo what Carmen had to say. I think it was awesome, guys. I think it was wonderful. You can tell I kind of lost my voice, but I'll tell you that the thing that made me most happy, I've done this for a long time, and I understand the importance of tuning into this model, because we did not know what we did not know when we started. We just knew it was a big idea, and we believed in the big idea. So when you don't know what you don't know and you believe in a big idea, you kind of wait for the signals to kind of come along. So we've been signaled and signaled and signaled, and many of those signals came from you guys, by the way. And I just love the pivots, the adaptations that the company has made. We knew that the vision really sold. This idea sells. People love the idea. We love the idea. What didn't sell as well out of the gates was the execution of the idea, not because corporate was not executing, it's because there were bank issues, there were software issues, there were currency issues, there were things that we just couldn't see coming. The banks are weird right now. And so we just had to adapt. So what we've done is we've made some really smart moves. I'll never forget when I was running a company called Forever Green. We had these power strips, these patches that we sold around the world. We opened the entire world, and it went crazy, nuts. However, there were problems. No. And it wasn't until after we identified the problems that we started now classifying you know, countries A have everything. They have corporate, they have everything they need, blah, 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 blah. Countries B, they have some of the things, not everything, but enough. Countries C have nothing. You're on your own. Good luck. And that's how we had to finally disclaim everything. So people would say, oh, okay, got it. I'll operate at my own risk on this one. So when it comes to the international model, what I love what we did, tomorrow there'll be a recap of the entire event with the formal updates. So I'm not going to get into the formality of the updates tonight. I'll give you the hint so that tomorrow, because we're still composing them, me and Rod and Nick, but we'll get them to you guys tomorrow in the form of a Zoom. You'll see it on the Telegram if you want to look it up. It's also going to be posted on Vision Dance. But what we're doing is we're going to classify each country as a beta 1, beta 2, beta 3, beta 4. And beta 1 might have one vendor and X amount of influencers. Beta 2 would have 5 vendors and X amount of influencers, et cetera, et cetera. That way, that gives the onus to you guys, the leadership, to say, hey, I'm going to go open the Philippines. Okay, great, go do it. Find a couple of vendors, find a couple of leaders, you know, get it going. There's some other discussions around this, making it even more friendly from the influencer pro standpoint financially. I won't go into that right now because I don't think it's my time to talk about that. But there's some things that the company's doing that really make a lot of sense. And this is what makes me the happiest, because now I can sink my teeth into what we're saying and what we're doing as a result. So the countries we're going to really focus on that are really good to go are US, Canada, Australia, and Europe. Those are the countries that are in pretty good shape right now. The ones that are in development are going to be anything you guys choose. And so imagine if we said to you, hey, let's make this a beta 1. And beta 1 might look like one vendor and 500 invites that said yes or something. You know, I don't know. That'll be all proclaimed tomorrow. I don't want to tell you what it is or isn't because we haven't fully decided. We're putting a pencil to it right now to make sure it works. But tomorrow that'll all be updated for you guys. But I love the training. I love that vendors are going up. You guys may have noticed how many more vendors are up right now. I know in Australia, there's several vendors. Nicolette, thank you so much for your leadership, sweet lady. There's some vendors going that direction as well. I've been following up on that. And if you need me to follow up on anything, Nicolette, or anybody who's working on vendors here, please let me know and I'll follow up and make sure that we walk those through. You're also going to have your own replicated links and sites that are kind of already up, sort of. But tomorrow you'll see the formality of that being up. You'll click on it, boom, click here for influencer information, click here for vendor information. So it just goes whoop, 2 separate ways. And I'm telling you, I finally feel like we've got our teeth in the right place. It's not perfect. Still, guys, it's still only 60 to 90 days old. This is a small company. Go on YouTube and look at all the videos we have and all the messaging and all the things that are done as a result of 60 to 90 days. Sometimes we forget that. Now, could it have been better? Of course it could have been, guys. And I'm not making excuses, I'm not defending. If anything, I'm saying, hey, we didn't know what we didn't know. And we're starting to know a little bit more. And we're starting to get a little bit more dangerous. And I'd say April, you can hold us accountable at the top. You can say, hey, April, we're going to hold these guys accountable at a high-class, world-class company. But right now, we're getting there. If you're in early, you're blessed and you're lucky. If everything's already done when you join this company, you're just a little late. That's all. But with that, I loved working with my partners, Rod and Nick. They both did amazing jobs, as they always do. I felt like our leadership, Chris Atkins is on here right now with Carmen and others. They were brilliant, guys. Our leadership was outstanding. I was just on Travis's Zoom, watching him go when he does his magic. I mean, this guy's landed on his feet again. He always seems to find a way to find the fun stuff. I don't know how he does it, but he did this time for sure. And I'm excited for you, Travis. So folks, this is starting to heat up. So just, Australia is on the radar. It's one of the 4. US, Canada, EU, and Australia are on the radar now. So if you guys want to take full advantage of that, go for it. Work within Australia if you want to. Work within US, work within Canada, work within the EU. Do those sorts of things. And if you're going to develop a country, tomorrow we'll give you the pattern to developing a country. So listen, how cool is it if we say to you, hey, go open the country of your choice? I've never been able to say that.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool. So this is what makes me so happy. So Aaron, I really appreciate your great leadership and your vision, your stick-to-itness, because that's what it takes sometimes, guys. It's easy to find the dark piece of rice in the bowl right now, but that's not gonna get you anything, folks. You can always go to another boy band, another company that's going to come out there and do its own thing. But this is one that I think has a future. It has a long-term future. And that's why I'm here. That's why I think that's why we're all here. So with that, Aaron, I'll turn it back over to you.
Yeah, and like what Ron said to me one day on a chat, it's not like, okay, we're about to go and open up Australia. Okay, let's open up Canada. Okay, let's open up India. But, just give me some time because I need that product to get TGA approval and we need to make sure the Indian stuff is set up and we've got to get our shipping right. We don't have to worry about that here because he's going to say, okay, Aaron, let's go set up Australia. What product do you want to go and launch? Well, I've actually got this vendor ready. They're already TGA approved because they've been in Australia for 10 years. They make hundreds of millions of sales or whatever. And so we can launch Australia like that. We don't have to worry about shipping and TGA and all those types of things. And that's a bit of a penny drop moment. And that's the same for each and every country because every country's got its own regulations and shipping and it's painful. And we will do some of that with some of the products around the world. But I think that's refreshing on a local front. And so I guess, Ron, one of the biggest questions that we've got right now with vendors, people are saying, okay, go get a product, but what is the vendor system right now? Is it just through the vendor website? Do they have to be influencer pros? Can they just be a vendor? Like, where are we at with vendors?
Again, we're getting our final language on that right now. So tomorrow we'll completely disclose all that. The vendors, you're going to have the automated site, and there will be some announcements tomorrow because right now, if you may have noticed, the vendor pace is picking up finally. But doesn't look at guys, more vendors doesn't mean more revenue. I want you guys to know that. Okay. I think that Travis is going to prove that in the US with what he's got right now. So more vendors doesn't mean more revenue. It just means more variety, which is kind of cool. But I will tell you that tomorrow they'll disclose all that good stuff for you. I was on the phone with them earlier. They said, I told them I was going to be on tonight. They said, hey, let us get our final language together for tomorrow. We'll give the formal update on everything. But the vendors are speeding up. I know in Australia there's several on the cooker right now, the burner. We're excited about those. And I can't wait, guys. I can't wait to help you guys any way that I can and just start getting behind the Australian movement. And I appreciate your great leadership.
Thank you, Ron. Yeah, and we've got some really good products. We've got a few people on here tonight. I know Zara's on there, and Jeff, and Nicolette and co with the products. And so, I think after tomorrow's update, learning the formalities of all of that, we can circle back, Ron, with you and the corporate team and do some vendor training. Things like the more technical stuff, how to upload a video and exactly what all the SKUs mean. And I think that would be some really, valuable training for people that are the vendors.
Yeah, if you do a vendor, I'm going to tell the ones who are doing vendors here, make sure you get a video up or 2 or 3 or some fun stuff up there to give it more engagement. It's not just throw it up there and cross your fingers and close your eyes. It's throw it up there and keep your eyes wide open, okay? Just to make sure we all know that. But yeah, whatever you can do to support your brand. I mean, remember, you're getting it out there. You want to attract as many affiliates, as many messages as you possibly can behind this. So make sure you understand that it's not going to happen on its own.
And I know we'll get all these updates tomorrow, but so we've got all these different phases for each country, different requirements, and that'll be the same for PV requirements, right, as well. So like in the US right now, you've got your 100 PV, but in a country like the Philippines, for example, they're not expected to have 100 PV because there is no products. And so it's going to be very fairly, you've got a leader that wants to build, they can sign up as an influencer pro, but they're not yet necessarily needing 100 PV, right? And so there'll all be all that roadmap will be there for us.
Right.
Beautiful.
Right. And the company wants to do it the right way. We want to use practical measures. And I think that's what we're doing. It's very practical, very logical, very common sense.
Yeah. And I think, Nick made a good point. If this had been the approach in the start, and we're all geniuses in hindsight. So I'm really excited about it moving forward. But I think a lot of people sort of sat back after the launch and went, we don't have any product. And we were sort of like, well, yeah, we've got to go and get product and that's going to take time. Whereas if we'd sort of done the phases in the middle, I think the key word that Nick used there was expectations. And when people's expectations are met, everyone's fine. It's when expectation is here and perhaps it's delivered here that people start to look around and wonder what's going on. And so for us moving forward to have a formula and a roadmap and have the expectations met, I think we'll be able to go and, enroll some great leaders internationally.
Yeah, and I think at corporate, we were pretty much responsible for setting some bad expectations. We had good intentions, guys, but we just didn't know what we didn't know. And I think sometimes people in the field will hear things the way they want to hear it sometimes as well. So they create expectations of their own. But I think if we meet in the middle, we just say, hey, we're in this together. We're not pointing fingers. We're just saying, hey, let's get these expectations managed. Let's produce more results. And I think the company is producing some very tangible things right now that you can sink your teeth into. So I'm excited and I'm so happy for you guys. I think you're going to be blessed if you really sink your teeth into this. So let's get going. Let's do it.
And just finally, Ron, last one, your vision, Nick's vision, Rod's vision, Terry's vision for this company 3, 4, 5, 10 years from now, and why? Like it's all well and good to say, $1 billion or $10 billion, but why? I mean, the biggest one that I can see is the model's going to work, but I like hanging out with winners. And Ron Williams is a winner, Nick is a winner, Rod is a winner, and they're just going to work 24/7 until it's done. I don't think in their minds it's like, let's see what happens in another 6 months, and this may or may not work. It's already done. But I love to hear, the vision of the company, moving forward over the next few years, Ron.
I think what the corporate team did this week, we've certainly fallen short in many areas. What we did this week is we demonstrated our fight, our ability to adapt and want to make this thing work. And that's 3/4 of the battle, is finding the right mojo, the right people behind it. So I think that, and we went to Terry's home part of that night. I know Carmen and Chris were both there. I'll let them talk about that. But Terry shared from his heart what his vision is. He's in this for the long haul. He doesn't see this as a 90-day turnaround success, not even. He sees this as like methodical, step by step so it gets to the point where we just can't stop it. And when that happens, folks, don't just say I'm here in the beginning, and don't be that person that says, oh yeah, I was there in the beginning, man, I got to hear everything. Man, you want to be paid for this. That's what you want to be paid. You want to be paid, okay? So don't say I was there. Be here present. Make something happen. Be in action. My vision, and I know Nick's vision, is to do it at a world-class level and compete with, we don't have to compete 100%, but just be a thorn in the side of the big boys, because of what we're doing some smart things right now. I know Rod has a similar vision. I do too. My vision has a lot to do with how we bless people's lives. If we don't bless people's lives, then why are we doing this? Anybody can go find transactional businesses that come and go. If it's just transactional, I might not be involved, but if it's some form of transformation, I'm all in. So my vision is to see people blessed through this whole thing and coming together in a unified fashion where we focus and we celebrate the things we have in common, not the things we have apart. And we do it on a business platform like this, like Shopley, to go and just touch the world and work smarter than harder. Right now we're working harder, but it'll come a time when you're going to say, hey, now I'm leveraging the model and it's working smarter than harder.
Love it, Ron. Thanks so much for joining us and giving those insights.
Okay, guys, I'm going to listen to Chris a little bit, then I have to jump off because I have another Zoom to get on. But thank you so much.
Awesome, guys. And just before we get to Chris, for that update tomorrow, just to make sure you guys know the times, it looks like it's 10 a.m. Queensland time, 11 a.m. Sydney time if you're in Australia. I think it's around about is it 7 p.m. Let's have a look. So 7 p.m.
The Zoom tomorrow night. By the way, the Zoom tomorrow night, I believe, is the same time as this Zoom tonight.
Yeah, it's interesting because on the Telegram, they have 11 a.m. daylight time. So that would be an hour later. So anyway, we'll clarify that. But daylight time would be Sydney, Melbourne time. So that would be 11 a.m. Sydney, Melbourne time, 10 a.m. Queensland time. So we'll run with that. But it's in your Telegram, guys, on shopleyzoom.com. So make sure you don't miss that one because that's going to go into super, super detail. So in terms of, okay, what does a beta 1 or a phase 1 country look like? What does a phase 2? What does phase 3? What does phase 4 look like? Because it's going to be a real roadmap of what you need to go and do. Okay, we're a phase 2 country. I need to do this, this, and this. If I want to be a phase 3 country, I need to have 500 leads on my invite. So when you're recruiting an international leader, in Indonesia, they can say, what do I need to do to open up this country? You can say, hey, here's your invite system. Once you have 500 invites, you've got a team ready to go and a product ready to go. We take you into a next phase and we open up your country. So it's an actual roadmap and a formula and a system for those guys. And so you don't want to miss that. If you're a vendor tomorrow, you don't want to miss that. If you're going to be building teams and affiliate, you do not want to miss the updates tomorrow. There's also another one on Wednesday US time, so Thursday our time as well. So there are 2 back-to-back Zooms. But let's get to the man himself, Mr. Chris Atkinson. He's been in the industry, I think, 3 decades. Chris, you can tell us a little bit about yourself. A lot of people on this call probably don't know your story, and I think you've got an incredible story. but a seasoned networker, a diamond in the company. I think he was D2 or D3 up on stage there. I saw him on the live feed, super pumped. Was running his own MLM company. He was at the event. Chris, welcome, buddy. And, what was your biggest takeaway from the event in Dallas on the weekend?
Hey, thank you, brother. Just honored and glad to be here. And, to be honest with you, my biggest takeaway, and Nick said it, I should have counted it, but he probably said it, like 87 times. And every time he said it, it sunk in just a little bit more, just a little bit more. We're a 62-day-old company. We're a 62-day-old company. We're a 62-day-old company. But then, and somebody put it in the chat over here, and if you were in front of me, I would give you a high five. But at 62 days, listen, I always teach this. It is so much easier for all of us. It's so much easier to be negative than it is positive. It's just so much easier, right? And then some of us take, hundreds of thousands of dollars of courses and mindset, and it starts to shift a little bit. But it is so easy to be negative. Oh, those stupid, pick out your favorite team. Can't believe they lost that game. Okay, they tried. They didn't just sit on the sideline, right? They gave it an effort. And so with us, it's no different. It's been I can't believe it. I can't believe that they haven't put that vendor up yet. Oh my God, you can't name your website. What the heck? Oh my good Lord. But then at the same time, they talk about how if you go to YouTube and go to Shoply Partners, there's like 100 videos there. Sizzle videos in multiple languages, snapshots that were recorded, 8 ways to get paid, there are more trainings in this company at 62 days old than I had in my last 2 companies combined. And one of those I was with for 15 years. There's already more here than I ever had there. Plus the simplicity of it, the look and feel of it. And you saw it firsthand. I know even if you were online watching it, I know you had to feel something. I know you do. Because you had to feel Nick's heart. Here's what I noticed from Nick. You guys ever see Nick on Zoom? That's not Nick. That's not Nick. That was the frustrated Nick. And so Nick knows that we're now coming through that and we're on the upswing. I mean, we couldn't stop Nick from talking. And we couldn't stop Ron. We couldn't stop Ron from telling his stories. And then, oh my gosh, this super shy, total introvert would rather sit in a closet guy named Rod Larson gets up on stage and you couldn't stop him. You literally couldn't. Here's who I felt bad for. I felt bad for local people that were a 2-hour plane ride or a 6-hour drive away that didn't show up. That's who I felt bad for. And some of them were people I personally enrolled that didn't drive across town. I felt so bad for them because here's what's going to happen. They're just going to be in the rearview mirror. Right? If they couldn't drive across town for that, they're definitely not going to come and hit the Pioneer Bones. They're definitely not going to take full advantage of everything that's already in place and other things that are about to be in place. I've never seen anything this big. Maybe some of you have. I've never participated in a full-blown, 100 plus, 150 plus country company. I mean, the one where we made, the vast majority of our income, we could only do business in 16 states in the US. That was it. We still made 14 million, but we were so limited to the territory. And then so when we came here, a lot of acquaintances made fun of us. Come on, what are you gonna do? What does going all the way around the world mean to you? Come on, stop it. I'm like, you know what? Let's see who knows who. So, we're already in 23 countries ourselves, and it's because of that 3 degrees of separation. And so I love the fact that we do have access to the world. And I really do, for everyone's peace of mind. I truly love what they did with the phases. I think that's gonna settle a lot of people down and realize, and I saw something in the chat about, vendors in the Asian market. It's like, go find the leader.
Mhm.
Go find the leader. You're gonna own it. Oh my good Lord. You'll own it.
Exactly. And we've got a question there from Zach. If I bring a vendor on from Asia, will they be on hold until Asia's live? Guys, I want you to understand that the whole world is live. Like we can go. And one of the really exciting things about international that I'll be using is, once people still click on that invite link and you've invited them into your system, they're getting positioned into the matrix. And so they may not have a product yet, they may not have a team yet, they can still sign up and get their position in the matrix from day one. Now we work with that vendor or that builder in Asia, whether it's in China, Taiwan, Hong Kong, wherever, and they've got to be a certain type of leader. That's going to be, but when you open up any country, you only open up any country with a certain type of leader. So you'll need to find a leader that can build a team, that can go and get a product, and then they'll get that market will be, going into the next phase, Zach. So that'll all be formulated tomorrow on the update call. But yeah, we can go build right now. But you can't just go and enroll a grandma in Hong Kong and she's going to complain about not being able to build, because she may not be the type of person that's going to go out and get that product. And so it'll come down to leaderships. And so, Chris, from the weekend, what would you say kind of changed you in your seat, from going, okay, I'm here, I'm in for the long haul. It hasn't been the perfect launch, to then you can start to feel the weight lifted off your shoulder. You're standing up on top of your chair and you're like, let's go, baby. When did the sort of penny drop for you? And, what was the biggest takeaway from being there?
Again, I'm going to go back to when he was saying 62 days. That was so refreshing to me, because what it made me do personally is it made me step outside of myself, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
But then you saw the people there.
Mm-hmm.
That was my first eye opener. When I got there and I met people from Australia, I met people from Canada, I met people from Italy, from Germany, and then all over the States, of course. I'm like, okay, here's some people that believe. And then I went back and I peeked in on the Zoom link and saw how many people were there. It's like, okay. And when I kept hearing him say 62 days, and then they started doing all the comparisons. And when they did the comparisons, Aaron, I got to tell you, I mean, that light bulb started burning brighter. He ran through it with our good friends at Amazon.
Mm-hmm.
And he ran through how they started. We all know the story. They started with books, right? And it was 3 years later before they added their second product.
Mm-hmm.
And so, then they put out the number. We have something, I heard 2 numbers, 136 and 150. Honestly, I haven't gone through to count them all. But let's just say 140 products already available. Okay, we had 5 in my last company. There's 140 here already. You can find something. Anybody can find something that they can use. With more coming, because Rod got up there and he said what he sees happening now with all the contracts that have been signed, the companies that are fully approved, we're just kind of waiting on them to do the uploads. We're going to average 2 to 3 a week coming on board. Okay, now that's going to make an impact. That's going to make a huge impact as we keep, getting notifications. Check this out. Look at this. And, I honestly, I can't wait for those training videos to come out, because when I put my company up here, dude, it was hot pack, figure it out. Forget how to do it before you got started on the next product, I dared not to record it because I knew I was just going to struggle. It took me days on end, right? Because that's just not what I've ever done.
Mm-hmm.
And so as it starts to flow, and as Nick starts to make all the videos, I mean, it's all going to be so simple. So when I heard that about Amazon, and then when it got compared to what we already have, I'm like, so what are we waiting for?
Mm-hmm.
Why are we waiting? And then I know it worked, because we have like everybody, we have messenger groups with, everybody that's in our current team. And we have a goal. I live my life by goals. So we have a goal of what we want to hit by the end of November with the new Pioneer bonus going on. And so we wanted to get some commitments. And so we asked for 70 people to commit to hitting the Pioneer bonus. And it took about 20 minutes to get past 70. And we had somebody come on and say, I see you already passed the goal. Can I still chime in? Like, yes. Right now, are they all going to do it? Of course not. I'm a realist. But they committed, which they wouldn't have done if they would have announced this last week with no event.
That's right. Yeah. So tell us a bit about that bonus.
So go out and get yourself 3 pros between a few days ago and November the 30th. And not only will you earn your 160s, of course, but then they're going to tack on an extra 300 every time you do that. So my goal was to hit it 3 times. And so every time you sponsor 3 influencer pros, you will now earn the Pioneer bonus, which is an additional $300 put in your bank account. And to me, that's super simple, right? I mean, because Aaron, my mind goes crazy. Here's what I had my wife do. It's a 5-hour drive for us. I said, what's our goal? What's our goal? What's our goal? I said, 400. Let's get to 400. Let's get 400 people in the business by the end of November. She goes, well, how many are we going to sponsor? I said, I don't care. It doesn't matter. Do 400 times 240 times 7%. And let's start thinking about that community bonus that's going to crank up all over again. I said, now here's a new group of 400. What you going to do with them? What are you going to do with them? You know, and that's why all of our training is always based around stupid, simple, kindergarten simple. If the business plan isn't made kindergarten simple, people will struggle.
That's right.
I have to keep it simple. And I guess the last thing I have to say is when Tony got up there and he started training on how to invite, it just, you know, I've always kept it simple, but his was fun. I made another phone call. I asked the same question. So now I have 2 guests. It's just that easy.
It's a bit like a relaunch, isn't it, Chris? It's a bit like, you know what, I've been to the event, I'm renewed, I'm pumped, my belief, my vision's so clear. I'm relaunching this baby till the end of the year, and 2025 is momentum.
Baby, we are in pre-launch in our group all the way through the end of the year. Heck yes. That's exactly the words we've been talking about. We're not talking about vendors, products, nothing. We are simply talking about growth through pre-launch to get ready for April. That's what we have been talking about. There's already been some hints. First part of April, Miami. I don't know any of it to be true, but that's already been some hints that's been thrown out there. And so I'm going to make sure, again, to quote Nick, because when Nick talked about that event a little bit, he said, who are you going to be, Jeff Ross? Are you going to be at the April event with you and your team of 2, your team of 20, your team of 200? It just depends. Do you want to be the one leading from the front or getting left behind? I don't ever like getting left behind. I've been left behind too many times in network marketing, and it was never the company's fault. It was this guy's fault.
I suffer from FOMO a lot as well, brother.
I never would listen, Aaron. I never would listen. I got this. I'm a businessman. You know, I know what to do. I just never would listen. But now Tony, who I honestly have no personal history with, I don't know how successful he's ever been, but that didn't matter. I heard his words. I said, oh my God, that's almost exactly what I say. I'm going to stick to it. And boom, 2 for 2 today.
Yeah,
I'm
very
listening.
nice.
I'm listening. So anyway.
And finally, mate, to finish off, yeah, your vision. So you've made money in network marketing before. You know, for me, when I was looking around, I mean, I've been involved for 27 years, and I wasn't looking for a company that I could bash out a few $1 million over the next 3 years. I wasn't looking for a company where I could make 100,000 a month, because this is just me. I've done that before. I was looking for a company where I could make $1 million a month, because people have earned that in network marketing before. But it usually doesn't stick. And if you look at the biggest incomes in this industry that have stuck, that haven't really disappeared, Amway is probably the winner there, on a uni level comp plan. And I'm thinking to myself, man, people shopping online with their everyday average products, with their star-studded products, with their favorite products for the next 20 years. For me, that vision hasn't changed. But I'd love to hear from you, where you're taking this with you and your team.
Well, here's what my belief is on that. Because yes, I'm with you. We will be side by side because I'm going to be a 7-figure monthly earner as well. But here's the cool thing about it. Because of the way the comp plan is, and because of the different ways that individuals can join, you're finally going to get a chance to have teammates also earning $1 million a month. See, we're not going to get so overloaded because of the affiliates. The affiliates are going to be able to come on and simply help you and I make sales. I'm not a salesperson. I have no interest in selling. I will sell now until I get enough affiliates doing all that part for me. But as they sell, that's going to rank people up. And I know people don't understand the comp plan, but oh my good Lord, when you start to see all the match pays that you get in the community bonus, in the marketplace bonus, in the vendor bonuses, all the different levels and to infinities at different percentage rates for ranking up, man, it's time to get on the horse and start ranking up. So I firmly believe it, Aaron. In our last company, yeah, we hit mid 650, 150. So, but I mean, like our top income earner was making like 45. That was as high as they could go. And we really couldn't get any higher. We really, honestly, we just couldn't. And so when I look at this comp plan, and I got it pretty figured out. I mean, making $1 million a month, I'm not going to tell you it's easy, but it's a lot easier than what you're leading yourself to believe. But you're going to have teammates earning that. What's your life going to be like? Because you always got to stop and figure this out. You're earning $1 million a month. You don't have just a bunch of teammates earning 500. That's impossible. You're going to have people rising with you. They're going to have people rising with them who are going to have people. You just changed the whole landscape of your country. You just changed the whole land. Think about it. How many of you have said this privately or in some Facebook? If old Bezos would just donate, he's got so much money. I want you to remember that you said that because you have the ability. And what are you and your group, you and your team going to do when there's a few of you making $1 million a month, lots of you making 6 figures a month, tons of you making 10, 15, 20,000 a month? What are you all going to do? That's what you got to start to have a vision of.
Thank you, Chris.
They will tell you, Aaron, I'm going to get in here, I'm going to blow it up.
Oh, I know you will too, brother.
Excited. I used to get so excited when people say that to me, and then I learned to just stop listening.
Yeah, but
Hey, thank you. I know I went over time, brother. Thank you so much.
No, thank you for joining us. Really appreciate it. Appreciate the insights. And guys, it's I just knew Chris would be fired up. I knew Carmen would be fired up because they were at the event. And in all my years, you just can't compete with being there. Like Carmen said, you actually have to hug someone, high five someone, have a wine at the bar with someone, but just to feel that energy. And so there'll be lots more events coming up in the US, lots more events coming up in Australia, a lot more events coming up all around the world. There's going to be incentive trips that we all get to go on. You don't want to miss these things. And so, Chris spoke about some big numbers there, but in between, that's a lot of hard work as well. And so, I love where the company's gone. I love that the company puts the hand up and go, yep. A lot of companies don't do that. A lot of companies like, oh, what's the problem? Stop your complaining. Let's go. And you're kind of like, man, all I actually want you to do is put your hand up and go, yep, look, we'll meet you halfway. We did some great things, some not great things, but here's what we're going to do to fix it. And I love that. I love that about Nick. I love that about Rod. I love that about Ron. And so, this company's not going anywhere. I always said from day one, they're going to have to tweak some stuff because to get it perfect from day one and nothing ever changes, I think is pretty much an impossible thing. Everything needs tweaking. And so I love the phases. And so to be able to now go to a leader in Indonesia from a Facebook post and they say, hey, I want to join this Shopee thing with you. Fantastic. We're open in Indonesia. Here's my invite link. Click on that. It's free to join. Let's talk about what Influencer Pro is. And they might not upgrade for a month. You know, maybe money's tight and they want to go find their product first. Perhaps you're sitting down with them, telling them about the whole formula, the whole story. And they've got, you know, it just so happens that I've got a product. Okay, let's do this whole thing around you. So you're going to own Indonesia with your product. We're going to start the vendor process right now. And so expectations are met. You know, I think it actually gets a lot of leaders and networkers and entrepreneurs more excited because it's not just, oh, I'm going to wait for somebody else to do it. No, this is the formula that we need. What do I need to do to open up, you know, India? Okay, you're a top leader. Let's go and recruit. Let's get you on a team Zoom. When you have 500 invites or 200 invites, whatever the company comes up with, now we can go get your product and we can go into phase 2. And so there's a set formula, there's a set system, expectations are met. I think it's very exciting. And then, yeah, other teams will eventually come in and market that one product. That first guy is still getting paid his 3% vendor bonus, right? And so it all just starts to spiral. I think it gives us a great roadmap for not just recruiting locally, but also internationally. Australia is a little bit lucky because we've sort of been working hard and going through that process. And so, you know, we're probably days away from having our first product live, second product live, third product live, and so forth, because we have been working hard behind the scenes and sticking at it. So we're going to have half a dozen very good products, you know, into November. So that's lucky for us, and we'll keep on doing that. And one of my big focuses will be to work with international markets to help them to go from phase 2, 3, 4, 5, and so forth. But, you know, don't miss out on tomorrow's update because those numbers will become formal. There's a leader need 500 invites, so they need 200. Yeah, those specifics are very important to move forward. So my goal is to get on that call, to get together with my leaders in my team, you know, get together with you guys and come up with a, you know, a big, you know, pre-launch event. Really get the momentum going towards the end of the year because it's a tough time of year, isn't it? We get to November, people start to go to third gear, second gear, first gear. We get to December and, you know, people are on holidays and so forth. So we want to keep that momentum going through to the end of the year. But just give people a real vision, a real game plan so everyone knows what to do, what the expectations are, get those products hammering because 2025 for the people that want to run, yeah, that's the year of momentum. It sounds like the April event will be fantastic. I'll make sure I'm at that one. If it is in Miami, doesn't really matter where it is, I'll be there. So guys, if you have any other questions, I'll try and answer them. A lot of them will be answered in tomorrow's Zoom, but we can get together and really come up with our game plan moving forward. So just send me a message over the next couple of days on how you're feeling, where you're at with everything, because we're going to keep on running with this as hard as we possibly can. That's for sure. Awesome, Zara. December is the biggest month, yeah, for change and transition. Yeah, I love that. So, and that's the thing, like when I first got involved in network marketing, I would, you know, sort of take a lot of December off as well, like a lot of people, and you sort of get back into it sometime in January and try and get it all going again. In the later years, I would work harder than anybody in December because I knew my competition wasn't, and December was huge for us. It was because people are slowed down, they're happy to have a look. And so, you know, our momentum took off. And then you take a few days off over Christmas, bang, straight back into it in January. And our team was so far ahead of any other team, but it all comes down to leadership. And the best thing you can do in leadership is lead by example. And so that's what I said to people in certain markets. Well, you can sit there and have a whinge that you've got no products, but that's the whole model. Are you going to go out and get the products? Or, yeah, you're going to wait for someone else to make bank on their 3%. But you got to lead by example. And then others will do the same and others will do the same. So it all comes down to leadership. Well, I will see you guys on tomorrow's corporate Zoom. So I think it's 7 p.m. Central Time, 10 a.m. Queensland, 11 a.m. Sydney. We'll jump on that Zoom, shopleezoom.com, get those specifics, reroute, and we're going to bring this thing home, baby. So thanks for everyone for jumping on today, and I'll see you next Wednesday as well.